Привет всем! С вами я, Janie, и это College Russian. In today's video, we are going to be focusing on listening and how to level up your listening. My students are always asking me, I feel like I need more practice with listening. Why am I not improving? And in today's video, I'm going to give you some of the research from second language acquisition that might answer the question of what you need to be doing to improve your listening skills. And I have a special little tactic that I use to teach students how to intentionally listen so that they are building listening muscle. So let's go ahead and get started on my listening lesson. So I like to compare learning a language very much to acquiring any skill that would require certain muscle memory, right? So in the same way that when you exercise, you want to build muscle, you start adding weight to your workout, right? So just doing your own body weight isn't going to get you very far. You need to actually add on 10 pounds, and then you're going to add on 20 pounds, and then you're going to add on 30 pounds. In the same way with learning a language, just because you're hearing the language, just because you're moving your body, if we're talking about exercise, it does not mean you're getting stronger, okay? You need to be intentional and deliberate and put some weight on. So just because you're hearing the language, people, I have students all the time that are like, oh, I listen to BBC Russian. Why am I not getting any better? Well, because you're a beginner. And so you're going to zone out if you hear anything that's too far above your level. And I'm living proof of this. I hear Portuguese all day, every day from my husband and my in-laws. And guess what? My Portuguese is horrible because I just zone out and I don't pay attention and I don't stop and I don't ask for clarification and I don't purposely expose myself to the language that is at my level. So this is a theory called comprehensible input. And this is how you improve in a language. You need to be surrounding yourself with language that is just slightly above your level. So you really should be understanding about 75% of what you're hearing. If you're not understanding that much of it, then it's probably too high. If you're understanding everything, then it's too easy and you need to take it up a notch. So I'm going to give you some ideas of some different channels and YouTube channels, podcasts that you can listen to that will hopefully correspond with your level correctly. So this theory, comprehensible input, was put forth by a linguist named Stephen Krashen. He was actually here at University of Maryland. And he, again, this is how you improve. Anything that's too difficult is only going to injure your muscles, right? We're going to compare that. Injure your brain. It's only going to cause an injury. Anything that's too easy is not going to grow muscle, okay? So it really needs to be, you need to be understanding about 75% of what you're hearing. Secondly, we're going to add weight. Okay, so I have a routine that I have students do when they're listening to various audio that helps them stay focused and train to put in their repetitions that helps them stay focused on building these listening muscles. So I will walk you through that today. So this is the activity that I have students go through to build muscle. The whole key is being intentional. Your first step is going to be a quick blind listen, and we're going to actually do this activity today. We're going to do it together on the beginner level. So your first step is a blind listen. This is because it helps remind us to keep our anxiety low. We listen to it. We don't panic that we're not understanding everything. We're just breathing and saying, I think you said something about Mexican. Oh, maybe something about a car. Again, we're just curious and open-minded. We're not feeling anxiety and we're not being perfectionist. So we can think of this as our warm-up. Then the next step is we go and we verify listen. Or also in blind listen, if you're in a classroom with me, I would give you an activity to do as you blind listen, something that's really going to focus your attention on specific things in the text. So then once you've tried to answer those questions without looking at the text, then you can go over and actually look at the text and verify and be really proud of yourself. For like, yeah, I thought he said something about Chinese people. And sure enough, here it is in the text, Chinese people, right? So that's the verifying listen. Then we bring it to life with a learning listen. This is where we take concepts from the audio or the text that we just listened to and try and use them in new contexts that are relevant to your life. And then any words here that you didn't understand in the audio, this is where you memorize them. Maybe make yourself a little flashcard. This is where you become an expert on this particular exercise. And then lastly, again, think of if you were in the gym, you go back to the exact same activity, go back and run the exact same mile you ran at the beginning of your journey and feel super proud at how far you've come, because now it's going to be a lot easier for you. So again, compare all this to what you would do in the gym. If you were wanting to get stronger, ripped, better skills, be able to run faster, you do everything with intention. And then you go back to the same level you started at so you can really get a feel for your progress. So we're going to actually do one of these activities today. For a lot of you, this is going to be really easy. I'm just warning you right now. It'll be really easy, but stay with me because I want you to see how I break these down in my classroom and how I keep learners' attention focused on key information. So we're going to go over to a website that we use in my current university classroom, and it's called Между нами. It's an entire textbook that is online. It's actually not my most favorite, to tell you the truth. I don't actually love it, and that's why I'm creating my own online course and my own textbook, because there's a lot of things about this online textbook that drive me nuts, but it's free and it's available, so that's pretty awesome. So here we go. We're going to come over to here. Resist the urge to start looking at the text. Resist the urge. Resist it. Okay. So we're going to come over here. We're going to resist the urge. We're just going to push play on this. Okay. So again, this is our open-minded, I wonder how much of this I can actually pick up on. And then I will have an activity that will focus your attention a little bit more. So here we go. We're going to listen to the audio here.
Привет. Наконец-то я здесь. Это дом, где я живу. Адрес – Академическая улица, дом номер 12, квартира 29. Это белый дом, не очень большой. Наша дверь черная. Это моя хозяйка. Ее зовут Светлана Борисовна, а фамилия Черных. По-моему, это необычная фамилия. Хозяйка говорит, что ее фамилия сибирская. А это ее машина. Красная японская машина. По-моему, это Тойота. Светлана Борисовна очень хорошая хозяйка. Она очень много работает. Иркутск очень интересный город. Здесь живут не только русские, но и украинцы, и белорусы, и буряты, и татары, и узбеки, и армяне, и китайцы. Совсем недалеко китайский ресторан. Есть и мексиканский ресторан. Это моя любимая кухня. Замечательно, правда?
Okay, so that was your blind listen. So hopefully, depending on how good you are at Russian, you picked up on maybe 5 words, 6, depending on your level. Now, if this was super easy for you, okay, well then you can go to this website and just go ahead to some of the other chapters. As you can see, it goes quite far, right? And you can kind of see what things are more your level. But this is more aimed at very beginners. Okay, so next, if you were in a private lesson with me or in my classroom, your next thing would be these things that you need to focus on in the text. And we're going to have a little discussion. Это верно или неверно? True or false? If it's неверно, then you need to correct the statement with what was said in the audio. So I always recommend with listening activities, we want to first familiarize ourselves with the question, so we know what specifically we're listening for. So we will go. Джош живет в квартире номер 19. Okay, so we're listening. Это верно или неверно? Номер 2. Его хозяйка Светлана Борисовна. Так, so his host mother is named Светлана Борисовна. Номер 3. Его хозяйка японка. Вот. Номер 4. Его хозяйка много работает. Номер 5. Он думает, что Москва очень интересный город. Так. И последний 6. Джош рад, супер, что есть мексиканский ресторан недалеко. Вот. So you're going to listen again. Again, we're staying focused. This is how we train our language muscles. with focus and intention. So we're going to listen to it again, and we're going to be listening for those specific answers. Again, this is a blind listen. This is strictly relying, we're isolating, right? Thinking of gym terminology, we're isolating with only using listening skills at this point. We're not incorporating reading skills because that's a whole other muscle group. We're not working on that muscle group right now. Okay, so let's listen again, staying focused, taking deep breaths. If this is giving you anxiety, stay focused and be taking deep breaths. Here we go. Again, listening for that key information.
Привет. Наконец-то я здесь. Это дом, где я живу. Адрес – Академическая улица, дом номер 12, квартира 29. Это белый дом, не очень большой. Наша дверь черная. Это моя хозяйка. Ее зовут Светлана Борисовна. А фамилия Черных. По-моему, это необычная фамилия. Хозяйка говорит, что ее фамилия сибирская. А это ее машина. Красная японская машина. По-моему, это Тойота. Светлана Борисовна очень хорошая хозяйка. Она очень много работает. Иркутск – очень интересный город. Здесь живут не только русские, но и украинцы, и белорусы, и буряты, и татары, и узбеки, и армяне, и китайцы. Совсем недалеко китайский ресторан. Есть и мексиканский ресторан. Это моя любимая кухня. Замечательно, правда?
Okay, хорошо. So hopefully you picked up on those answers. So this is the point at which we would try and discuss this again without looking at the text. And some of it you may have picked up on and some of it maybe not, and that's okay. So this is step 2 in the process. Next we go through and we verify. So you would come to the website and here is all of that text for you. And then now at this point, this is where you could go in and go back and answer some of these questions. So for example, look, we would take this first question. Джош живет в квартире номер 19. Then we would come and verify by looking at the text. Нет, он живет в квартире 29. То есть это неверно. Это неверно. Следующее. Его хозяйка Светлана Борисовна. Then we come, we verify. Это моя хозяйка. Ее зовут Светлана Борисовна. Да, вот это верно. Очень хорошо. Следующий вопрос. Его хозяйка японка. По-моему, нет. Ее хозяйка русская, сибирячка, а даже сибирская. Но он сказал, что ее машина японская. Ее машина японская. So see how that was a little bit tricky. You had to be listening closely. Следующий вопрос. Его хозяйка много работает. See if you can find that in the text. Вот, она очень много работает. То есть это верно. Вот это верно. Следующий вопрос. Он думает, что Москва очень интересный город. Вот это очень интересно, да? Потому что он живет в Иркутске. So это неверно. Это неверно. He's not speaking about Moscow. Он говорит об Иркутске. Иркутск очень интересный город. И последнее. Джош рад, что есть мексиканский ресторан недалеко. So he doesn't actually say the word рад, but that could be implied with this word. Это моя любимая кухня, which means my most favorite food. So we can infer that he's probably happy about it. So now we are going to do a learning listen. This is where we extract from the audio and from the text any new words that were new for you. And this is where you really need to memorize them and learn how to use them in different contexts. And then you're also going to, again, use this particular text as inspiration for how to talk about your life. So, например, какой у вас адрес? Да, у меня адрес 3045 улица университет, дом, я уже сказала, 3045 и так далее. Вот, okay, our American addresses don't work very good. Вот, ваша фамилия сибирская? So I would be asking my students this, and then they would have to correct me. Нет, моя фамилия не сибирская, моя фамилия датская. Моя фамилия датская. Так, номер 3. Опишите вашу машину. Моя машина не японская машина. Моя машина серая корейская машина. А ваша машина красная. And then you would tell me. We would have a conversation back and forth here. Кто в вашей семье много работает? Да, Джош сказал, что его хозяйка Светлана Борисовна много работает. А вы много работаете? Мой муж много работает. Он очень много работает. Следующий вопрос. Какие национальности живут в вашем городе? So notice over here some of the nationalities he mentioned. Белорусы, буряты, татары, узбеки, армяне, китайцы. А в моем городе живут бразильцы, китайцы, корейцы, индусы. Еще какие здесь? Русские здесь живут. Еще кто? Арабы, да, потому что это город Вашингтон, и здесь много разных национальностей. И последнее. Джош говорит, что его любимая кухня – это мексиканская кухня. А у вас какая любимая кухня? Моя любимая кухня мексиканская или арабская или грузинская. Так. So that is how we would bring a listening text to life. So real quick now, I'm going to give you some ideas of YouTube channels you could go to get a little bit more practice. At the very, very beginning levels, it's really hard to find content on the very, very beginning levels that's not just single words and phrases, right? So I highly recommend you can do this online textbook, Между нами is what it's called, and you can come in and it has a whole bunch of different topics you can go through. Each of the units starts with a dialogue like this that you can listen to and kind of hear different things. So I do recommend it. It has an accompanying textbook you can use. There's just some aspects of it I don't love, but it's amazing that this is online and that it's free. A couple of my favorite YouTube channels at the very beginning levels is this one, Твои сибирские каникулы. They haven't done any content lately, but it's so great. It's such a pity that they stopped because these videos right here are just so well done. I love them. And there's lots of good stuff for you to practice with here. And then, in fact, I'll be doing a video with Sergey in Russian from afar. We have collaborated on a couple of things in the past. I did a video on his channel. I'll link to it below. And then he's going to be helping me with some things. So he has been really helpful in doing some videos in super slow, super simple Russian, which I really am grateful to him for. So I recommend that at the beginning level. And then at the intermediate level, there's lots of good stuff to work with. So obviously Russian with Max, that's very popular, and he has a podcast. This gets up into advanced level, I would just say, for the average American. Then this lady's really great. She does a lot of stuff with literature and history. I really like her channel. This guy I really like. He has videos where he does like this day in history, and that's really good at the intermediate and advanced levels. I really like that kind of thing. And he's just fun. He's got a fun personality. Russian with Dasha. She has just a really sweet, soothing voice. I could listen to her all day, every day. In my classroom, we use this video and we talk about, русские бабушки and how amazing their lives are. So these are really great at the intermediate level. Now, a lot of people always ask me, well, what do you do for your Russian? Well, I really do listen to Russian. I've listened to Russian probably more often than I'm listening to anything in English. So these are my personal favorite channels on YouTube. They'd probably be quite advanced for a learner if you're not pretty much completely fluent in the language. So Redakcja Varlamov, Popularная политика, I especially like this show because it has a lot of sarcasm in it. And that's really good at the super high advanced levels to be understanding sarcasm, intonation, and that kind of thing. Then the other one, this lady is just my hero. It's my dream. If I could have her as my professor. She taught at MGU at Moscow State University. She taught history. Just an incredible person. Yeah, that's my dream, to sit and listen to her, have a class with her. So she does a lot of stuff with history, and she's just so good. And the Russian subtitles are legit, and sometimes they'll even have English subtitles as well. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, I am a sucker for trashy reality TV. Not in English, only in Russian. So hopefully you still have a little bit of respect for me. But the reason I love reality TV when learning a language is you get to hear how people actually talk. Not how they talk in a classroom, not how they talk as a journalist, how people actually talk with each other. So that's why I highly recommend that. Again, if you are just a beginner in Russian, I don't recommend this. This is for when your level is a lot more advanced. You have a great vocabulary. You very rarely have to look up a word. And now you're just trying to perfect your usage of slang and your intonation and so on and so forth. So that's why I come in and I start listening to a reality TV show. But again, remember, the key in all of this is comprehensible input. You should be able to understand 75% of what you're hearing if you want to actually build muscle. So it's pretty soon in this fall, when I release my new online course and my website, I will have just a huge repository of listening activities like we did today on all the different levels for you to practice. This is how you build muscle. I'm telling you, you need to be intentional. You need to break everything down, stay focused. And then the key is go back and listen to it once you have broken down the text and you feel like you are an expert and you know everything. You have your triumphant blind listen where you go back and you're like, aha, I'm an expert. I know everything. And then you're going to take it up to the next level and find a text that's a little bit harder, which is the equivalent of you adding on 10 more pounds to your squats. So I hope that was helpful for you today. I hope this gives you some inspiration of how to level up your listening skills. Please do it with intention, and please do it at a level that is appropriate for your understanding of the language. Это все на сегодня. Хорошо. До свидания. Увидимся на следующей неделе.